Yeah. Okay, so I don't know how long this will record for. But I figure since I take these nice lovely walks through a fairly, it's actually a lot of cars tonight, surprisingly. But for a fairly quiet Fort Wayne, nice night, I'll record it and show you guys what the peacefulness is that I enjoy. Because for me, this is so much nicer. There's such a calm, quiet about everything. And they don't have the heat of the sun. Just the calm and the still of the night. Just relaxing. No other people around and about to you really have to worry about. I know that sounds horrible. I love you all, but damn, it's hard to deal with people some days. Like even tonight, energy vampires. People that try to draw your attention, that look at me, look at me, look at me. Get so tired of humans like that. Again, not trying to be judgmental, but I like to give my energy, not have my energy taken. So, and that's a big one of those lessons that I've been learning, is when to just try to do it in such a tactful manner as not being rude, but at the same time to tell people, I'm sorry, but I don't care to be a part of your bubble tonight, People that try to invade your space, people that try to, get to know you and want to see who you are. And it's like, nope, sorry, I played those games. I've dealt with those type of people before. And not to say that there's not a purpose in every conversation we have with others, but there's certain conversations that aren't worth my time anymore. And I know that sounds pretty bad, pretty horrible. Everybody should be worth your time. I love and care for everyone. If someone is in need, of course they're worth my time. But when someone is drunk and just wants to take of my energy just because they think I'm nifty or cool and let's find out who that guy is, no. Sorry, I'm done playing those games. Tired of dealing with that in life. I've always been an introvert, so my introverted nature is to tell people, sorry, I'm nobody. Don't worry about who I am. I don't care for you to know who I am, and you live your life. Enjoy. Peace be with you. But shake my dust off from those conversations anymore. Wow. Never realized this church has the stained glass lit up right there in the center. That looks beautiful at night. So it's like 4 cars of what's usually the busiest street. So normally this is completely jam-packed cars all the time, having to dodge traffic. Whew. They've even been painting the electricity boxes. Don't know how well you can see that in this lighting, but they're trying to spiffy up Fort Wayne all over the place, make it look pretty, nice, gentrified. So, yeah. It's nice what they're doing, and they actually have like food boxes set up all over the place too now, that anybody that's in need of food can go there. People can donate their food. I've been checking them out here and there, and what's really cool to see is a lot of vegetation. People that are growing gardens around town that have the extra vegetables and extra stuff growing, that they'll just throw it in those food boxes. One of them back there had cabbage in it, and it was either collard greens or some other type of leafy greens, but fresh from the garden. Amazing stuff to see. So that's the other thing, is cutting through parking lots, cutting through parks, finding the narrow pathways. I am definitely not one of those people that follow and stay inside the lines. So it still amazes me when I watch people that go along and follow the sidewalk, go to the crosswalks, follow all the rules and regulations. I'm sorry, but yes, there are reasons for those things to be in place. Yes, there are moronic, imbecilic people out there that just don't watch, don't know how to pay attention, will get themselves hurt. That's why the rules are there for them. Unfortunately, not all those rules need to be used for every human. And it gets so old and annoying in life when you have to put up with having what you can do as a person limited because of other idiots and fools that have come before you. So here we actually have 2 cars. So these are these nifty little food boxes that I was talking about. Some have coolers, and the lighting you can probably barely see here. Some are coolers, some are regular boxes. So in here we have chickpeas, canned goods, some instant potatoes, pasta, shoes, even little kid shoes. That's interesting. Bags and popcorn, and yeah, so Fort Wayne has definitely hit the spot where nobody should go hungry, you know. And that's at least a start, you know. There's homeless shelters around town. There are food pantry boxes that people can eat out of. And there are still those, though, that don't want to live in the societal ways of a structured home, so they choose to camp out. They choose to, you know, sleep at the church, and sadly, unfortunately, some of those are because of drug situations. People that just are too addicted to the high that they would rather spend whatever funds they can make to chase the dragon. And that's kind of the sad part about this world sometimes. But here is the great thing about life sometimes. And again, probably can't see it in the lighting. Indiana NORML. Legalize medical cannabis. Yes. Indiana surrounded by every state that now has medical. Indiana is the only state that has yet to approve anything because of all the rural farmlands, all the areas that have the conservative Christian views, a lot of the Amish that live up in the northern Indiana portions. Those people tend to be more, nope, we're going to control the rest of the state and tell you how to live your life and tell you what to do. Well, that time is coming to an end, folks. Very soon. I say very soon. I've been telling people since 2012 that it's coming. I figured it would have been here by now. But with the way everything's been economically, they've been able to fake things, kick the can down the road. But as everyone now knows, hyperinflation is on the way. We've already seen it in wood. We've seen it in some other sectors and businesses. Certain products that can't be got anymore because it's just too damn expensive to have them shipped. Kitty. Hi. Hey, kitty. You want some scratches? And with the lighting, as far as I can tell, you can't even see the cat. Yeah. Okay. Kitty time.
So whether you're studying on the go or downloading your favorite movie, Metro gives you 5G speed.
That was a good instruction that I needed. I was starting to bitch. My apologies for that. I had a beer tonight. I have stayed extremely sober while dancing at the bar, hanging out with friends. And now I'm just talking to myself at the moment, but really trying to talk to the world and just share some of my thoughts and feelings as I'm showing you guys what I do. So, in essence, you are getting a picture inside my head, because as I walk, these are the things I think about. These are the things that I contemplate. I am always questioning what is coming, what is to be. I've always felt that there is the plausibility, the possibility that we can shape, mold, shift the timelines. We can. We are meshing between multiple timelines at the moment. So, yeah. I feel like I just crossed over the other day because I swear I saw one thing posted on Facebook, and then someone was just like, no, we posted this. And in my mind, I swear I saw the other, which to me feels like a timeline crossing, where I was in one timeline, I slept, and I woke up in another timeline, where the people that I talked with had gone one place the day before, and then the next day, nope, they'd gone to a different place. So yeah, parts of my mind question, is that just me just not paying attention? Or are we actually hitting that flippy-floppy where the multiverse theory is true, it is correct. It's basically on the fact that we have infinite plausibility, possibilities of what could be. So the future is not set in stone yet. The future is still moldable, shapeable, shiftable, yet at the same time, there are constants. There is a method to the madness. There is a pattern. Yahweh, God, Source, whatever you want to call the higher power, the greater being, what I refer to as source consciousness of the universe, the bit and piece, a part of everyone. We are all conscious beings because our consciousness comes from Source, it comes from God, it comes from Yahweh. But through that connection, when you start to learn to truly tap into that connection, you can basically what other things have referred to as the Akashic records, where you can understand things that you technically normally shouldn't be able to understand because you haven't been taught the knowledge. The knowledge is what's being imparted to you. So, I'm speaking to God. Well, God's speaking to me. It's that sort of thing, but it's not God per se. It's not some sandaled, bearded man in the clouds. I have that used on me so often when it's like, you use the terminology God, so people instantly think Judeo-Christian God. God is a generalized term that humanity's been using. My generalized term is source consciousness. Source, the source of all life, not the creator, the being that is. So it's more so that when the universe was created, the Big Bang, that was Source, that was God, bursting himself out amongst the cosmos and taking what was his solid consciousness form and separating it into billions, trillions, whatever number, We have 8 billion humans here on Earth. We are not the only planet. There are other aliens, there are other species. Some have interacted with us. Some are other dimensional beings. Some are beings that can traverse between one dimension to this dimension. And that's a lot of where the angelic beings come from, what our man has described as angels, or seen as angels or demons, are transdimensional beings. And science is now finding ways to explain that more in a scientific manner and not so much a religious-y matter. But all it is humankind, mankind, coming to a rationalized understanding for their generation. So previous generations, called them the Anunnaki. Previous generations called them angels, named them Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Azazel, Lucifer. Just man-made names given to multidimensional beings that live on a different plane of existence than us. That man, in the past, ancient cultures, has labeled heaven. Heaven is a generalized religious term for what is, as far as I can tell, the fifth dimension. Now, from everything that I study and other scholars, other philosophers, other people, is that there are many dimensions, not just, 2D, 3D, 4D, 5D, that there's actually, 10, 11, 12 dimensions that even go beyond what, our brain can fathom. So that's one of the bigger problems, is most minds have a hard time to contemplate, rationalize, fathom other concepts, if it bends so far outside the realm of plausibility for this plane of the 3D existence that we are seeing, it's hard to conceptualize what the 5D, 4th planes are. In essence, those of us that are the living dead at the moment here on Earth again, those that have died to self, resurrected, had what you want to call an ego death or call it a physical death with resurrection, I'm still trying to rationalize and put it into words what it is. But those that are dead in Christ, and I say it that way in a religious sense because Christhood, becoming a Christ, is a mental concept. It is too many religious scholars of the past 2,000 years have muddled and messed up Yeshua's message. And again, this is what I'm talking about, the Akashic records. This is talking about that divine connection to source so that the understanding comes down to make sense, where this isn't my mind rationalizing everything based off of just my thoughts and feelings. This is years of study, years of knowledge that since my, quote-unquote death, my mind has now been enlightened, unlocked, awakened to that full understanding of, wait, that concept I thought I learned or was taught to me, no, that is definitely incorrect. This concept, this theory, this conjecture that I put forth, no, that is actually the correct one. Now, granted, this is my truth for my life, and I know there will be some pieces that I have gotten incorrect, but for the majority of everything that I've been able to figure, from everything I've been able to study, from other conversations I've had with other people, conversations I've had with the bloodline of Nephilim. That's the other fun thing, is that since my death, I have had people come into my life that I am trying to decipher and figure if it's Rh negative. Rh negative blood is like 3.4% of the human population, and from what I can tell, that Rh negative blood is the bloodline of the Nephilim. That when the Nephilim, in the Bible talks about the angels of, the sons of God mated with the daughters of man. So from what I can tell is the concept of the Anunnaki, that story is the best rationalization of creation. So that, yes, that is true, that is correct, that what the Bible, what the Hebrew Torah, what the Kabbalah handed down was all from the Anunnaki. But because of oral tradition, handing down stories through the tribes before it's all written, the original story of the Anunnaki then got converted into what became, Yahweh, the Torah, the Hebrew, which even then goes into the Mormonism. If you've ever taken time to study into that, you're not supposed to be able to see, the story of, everything unless you join the church. I have my ways, I study things, people give me information. I have seen the concept and the study of how, I'm trying to remember the 3 divisions. It was Michael, I think they referred to it as Jesus, or, the representation of what was Christ to be born on earth as Yeshua. That spirit was an actual angelic body back at the beginning of time, along with Michael and God, that the 3 of them said, hey, let's create man, let's create earth. And in essence, that was what happened because it was the Anunnaki. It was the trans-dimensional beings, the alien beings, the angelic beings, however you want to refer to. It was them actually imparting, that wisdom, knowledge, information to mankind once it was created. So that missing link that genetics and science always talks about, that missing link is most likely that genetic creation of the Anunnaki, the angelic beings, mixing in with the ape-like creatures that were developing on this planet to then create Homo sapiens. And then, what do you do once you create something? You try to fuck it. I know it sounds horrible, but that's what happened. So God and the angels helped all create this earth and this reality that we live in, and then they stuck about for a while, and while they were here, they decided to mate with their creation, thusly creating the Nephilim, and thusly creating the star seeds, the angelic bloodline that is now awakening here on Earth. So DNA holds all our processing of information from our past lives, our past relatives, everything up until the point of when you are thusly, conceptualized in the womb. The genetic knowledge from your previous ancestor is then encoded into your DNA, and so that can actually be tapped into and be unlocked. And so that's why we are at that precipice, because we are moving into the age of Aquarius. We are moving out of the Piscean age into the Aquarius age, which is an actual movement in the heavens and the stars and the skies and time and all that good stuff, which takes us here to this moment, this point in time where we are here on Earth in this shift, in this time of great upheaval, where there are going to be a lot of people that will be, the chaff shall be cut off from the wheat and tossed into the fire. I hate religion. I really do. I know it sounds, horrible to be as spiritually conscious as I am. Religion to me has so twisted the meaning in the words that were originally intended. And some of those intentions, some of those words are as correct as can be. But it just makes it seem so horrid. So when you get into studying of, and this is where I'm starting to get into, I haven't gone as deep as I should, and after everything that's happened I need to now, is to get a copy of the Tibetan Book of the Dead and read that. Because Buddhism, karmic reality is true. That is just as true. Someone lost a good coat. So that is just as good and true and real as, Yahweh, the Christianity, the Anunnaki. Those are all bits, pieces, parts of that same story, all connecting us back to source. And so in that karmic wheel, it talks about the reincarnation cycle back into this life. That's basically what it is. So this consciousness of ours, our conscious spirit, recycles back in if we don't move ourselves outside of that karmic wheel. If we choose to not learn our life lessons, if we choose to keep living in a self-serving manner, then... Sorry, the music is distracting me. So, if we are living in a self-serving manner towards ourselves, that keeps us karmically stuck here in this cycle. And yes, it's not about the deeds that you do that will, take you into heaven, so be it. It is finding that karmic balance, finding where you are not keeping yourself weighted in the darkness so that you are trapped here to recycle back, to die a physical death and be here again and again and again, each time coming back, not remembering the past, but still knowing that those lessons need to be learned. There are many souls here that have never figured out how to relieve themselves of that karmic cycle. They will never ascertain heaven. Those are the ones that are going to be... I feel for those souls. I want every soul to be saved. I truly do, just like Yeshua did. But, yeah. But unfortunately, there are those souls that will not make it. There are those souls that will be lost. And that's a shame. But I am back now. It is almost 4 a.m, and I'm going to take a rest. So that was a portion of the walk, not all of it. I walked some railroad tracks and took some photos and did some other things. But yeah, it's time to take a rest, get something to eat, get a drink, go to bed eventually. But hope you enjoyed.